Frank Foley didn't look like a hero. He was, in fact, remarkably ordinary. Of short stature and slight build, he was a man who could easily blend into a crowd. His round spectacles and thinning hair gave him a rather bookish appearance. No one would have suspected that this unassuming man was, in reality, a top British spy operating in the heart of Nazi Germany. His unassuming demeanour was his greatest disguise. Foley was the antithesis of the dashing James Bond-esque figures often depicted in spy thrillers. There were no Aston Martins or Walther PPKs in his arsenal. His tools were far more subtle: a keen intellect, an unwavering moral compass, and an arsenal of forged documents. Yet behind this facade of ordinariness, Foley possessed extraordinary courage and compassion. He was a man who risked his own life to save the lives of thousands of strangers. Sir Alex Younger, the former head of MI6, hailed Foley as the greatest intelligence officer who never was. Foley, you see, never officially held the title of intelligence officer. He was officially a passport control officer. This seemingly mundane bureaucratic position provided the perfect cover for his real mission: to infiltrate the Nazi regime and assist those fleeing persecution. Frank Foley's cover was his position at the British Embassy in Berlin. From 1919 onwards, he served as a passport control officer. This position, typically tedious and routine, became a lifeline for many Jews desperate to escape the Nazis' tightening grip. Foley's posting in Berlin coincided with one of the darkest periods in human history. The Nazis had consolidated their power, and their persecution of Jews intensified with each passing day. The Night of Broken Glass, or Kristallnacht, in November 1938, shattered any illusions of safety for Germany's Jewish population. Synagogues burned, businesses were destroyed, and Jewish homes were ransacked. Thousands were rounded up and sent to concentration camps. The world watched in horror, but Foley did more than watch. He acted. The period between Kristallnacht and the outbreak of World War II in 1939 was a time of immense pressure and urgency. Foley found himself on the front line of a humanitarian crisis. He knew that every visa he issued, every passport he stamped, could mean the difference between life and death. Foley became a master of subterfuge, operating under the noses of the Gestapo. He understood the power of bureaucracy and used it to his advantage. He would routinely bend the rules, and sometimes even break them, to issue visas to those in desperate need. His weapon of choice was not a gun or a knife, but a pen. With a few strokes, he could alter the fate of an individual or an entire family. He forged documents, created false identities, and bribed officials to secure safe passage for those fleeing persecution. He went above and beyond the call of duty, often venturing out of the embassy to meet with contacts in cafes and parks, always aware of the risks he was taking. He was a master of disguise, not in the traditional sense of elaborate costumes, but in his ability to blend in, to appear harmless and unassuming. Foley's actions did not go unnoticed by the Gestapo. They suspected his involvement in helping Jews escape, but could never quite pin anything on him. He was careful, meticulous, and always one step ahead. He was a ghost, moving unseen through the corridors of power, a silent guardian angel to those who had lost all hope. The process of obtaining a visa to escape Nazi Germany was fraught with obstacles. The Nazis had implemented a complex and ever-changing web of bureaucratic hurdles designed to trap and disenfranchise Jews. Foley understood these complexities better than most. He knew the right strings to pull, the right forms to misplace, and the right officials to persuade. He would often work late into the night, hunched over his desk, carefully altering dates on documents, forging signatures, and creating entirely new identities for those seeking refuge. He became a beacon of hope in a world rapidly descending into darkness. For many, a visit to Foley's office at the British Embassy was their last chance at freedom. Stories abound of Foley's bravery and compassion. He once hid a Jewish family in his own apartment, risking his own safety and that of his wife to protect them from the Gestapo. On another occasion, he walked into a concentration camp without any diplomatic immunity, simply by flashing his business card to secure the release of a Jewish prisoner.